All right, so today we are taking a deep dive into social media and mental health.
Okay.
And, everyone's talking about this, right? Like how social media impacts us, but it feels like sometimes we just hear the same things over and over.
Yeah,
So we found this article that really tries to go deeper into how social media affects our minds and well-being.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And actually, to be honest, like, I was on Instagram a couple of days ago and, I just felt myself like falling into that trap of comparing my life
Right.
to everyone else's perfect photos.
It's so easy to do.
And it just like left me feeling kind of blah.
Yeah.
So to break down like the science behind all of this, we have an expert here to help us unpack it.
Well, thanks for having me. One of the most fascinating things about this is that social media is not just a way to connect anymore.
Right.
It's really changing how we see ourselves, how we feel about our lives.
It's true. It's like such a big part of our lives now.
Terrible.
Yeah, and the article goes right into some serious statistics. Like it says that teens who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media
Oh, wow.
are way more likely to experience anxiety and depression.
That's a lot.
It is, but like, I don't know, 3 hours for a teenager these days, that's like nothing, right?
Yeah, that could just be like a normal day.
Exactly. So what is it about that time spent on social media that's so potentially harmful?
So it's not just like the time itself, but what's happening in those 3 hours.
Right.
Like you were saying about comparing yourself to others, the article calls it the social comparison trap. It's
Okay.
like we're constantly seeing these perfect, idealized versions of everyone's life.
It's true.
It's like everyone's highlight reel.
Yeah, it's like everyone's winning and you're just like, wait, what am I doing?
Exactly. And our brains are kind of wired to compare ourselves to others, but social media just like explodes this.
Yeah.
It makes it so much worse. It's like this illusion that everyone else is happier.
More successful, richer, more attractive, everything. Yeah.
And even when we know logically that it's not real,
Well,
our emotions don't always get that.
that's so true.
It's like a disconnect.
It really is. And what's interesting, the article mentions this study where adults who just scrolled through social media, they didn't even post anything.
Oh, wow.
They just scrolled, they felt more envious and less happy with their own lives.
That's great.
Yeah, it's wild. What's happening in our brains when we do that?
Well, a lot's going on, but a key part is something called the reward system.
Okay.
So when we see things we like those perfect photos or comments getting tons of likes,
Right.
our brain releases dopamine. It's the same chemical we get from things like food or sex, so it feels good.
Oh, wow. So it's like a real physical reaction.
Yeah, but those dopamine hits are short-lived, so we're always looking for the next one.
Like that next notification, that next, like, yeah.
Exactly, and the article even compares this to addiction.
Oh, interesting.
It talks about how these apps are designed to keep us hooked, to trigger those dopamine rushes.
Yeah. So you're saying social media companies are intentionally trying to get us addicted?
Well, that's definitely a debate, but there are similarities with other behavioral addictions, like gambling.
I see.
The article lists some signs of this, like neglecting responsibilities, feeling anxious if you can't check your phone.
I think we've all been there.
Probably.
But like before we all freak out and delete all our accounts, can you give us some specific examples of what these addictive behaviors look like?
Sure. One is constantly checking your phone, even when you're doing something else.
Yeah.
Or feeling like you have to post or comment, even when you don't really have anything to say.
Right.
And then there's the classic staying up way too late scrolling, even though you know you should be sleeping.
Oh, the late night scroll hole.
Yes, exactly.
That's a real problem for me. But what about solutions? If someone realizes they're doing these things, what can they do to get back in control?
Well, willpower is definitely part of it, but it's not just about quitting cold turkey.
Okay, so what else?
It's more about creating like a healthier relationship with social media.
Yeah.
The article has some practical tips, like setting time limits with those app timers or,
Yeah.
just deciding, okay, I'm only going to be on social media at these times during the day.
It's like budgeting, but for your attention.
Exactly. And it's also about being mindful of who you follow. Like if you're always seeing posts that make you feel bad about yourself,
Right, like those perfect vacation photos.
just unfollow those accounts.
Yeah.
Fill your feed with stuff that inspires you or makes you laugh.
Yeah, it's like you're creating your own little digital world.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of taking breaks. Even a few hours or a day away from social media can really help you feel better.
Yeah. It's easy to feel like you're going to miss out on something.
Right.
But really, what are we missing? Another photo of someone's lunch.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Sometimes disconnecting is the best way to reconnect with yourself.
I like that. Okay, So the article also talks about this idea that social media might be hurting our real-life social skills. They mentioned a study where kids who didn't use screens were actually better at reading facial expressions and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So are we all getting worse at interacting in person because we're always online?
I wouldn't say it's that all online interaction is bad.
Okay,
It's more about balance.
I see.
Like virtual communication doesn't teach us all the same skills we need for face-to-face interaction.
So things like reading body language or making eye contact.
Right. Those are things we have to practice in real life.
It's like learning a new language.
Right. You can study the grammar,
Yeah.
but you won't be fluent until you actually talk to people.
So how do we get better at those real-life social skills?
Well, first, put your phone away when you're hanging out with people.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
It is. But try to focus on being present.
Yeah.
Make eye contact.
Yeah,
Listen to what they're saying.
right. Be in the moment.
Exactly. And maybe instead of texting all the time, that's just meeting up for coffee or something.
Like make an effort to actually see people.
Yeah. And remember, it's not about having tons of friends. It's about having a few really good ones.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's talk about sleep, because the article mentions how social media can really mess with our sleep patterns.
It's true. The blue light from our phones and computers suppresses melatonin, which is the hormone that helps us sleep.
I've definitely noticed that I'll be scrolling in bed and suddenly it's like 2 a.m.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
And it's not just the blue light. It's also the constant stimulation.
Right, like your mind is still racing even after you put your phone down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the article suggests setting a digital curfew, like no screens for an hour before bed.
I've heard that before, but it's so hard.
I know. It's tough. But you can try starting small, like maybe just 30 minutes without screens and then gradually increase it.
Okay.
And try replacing scrolling with something relaxing like reading a book or taking a bath.
Yeah, good ideas. So the article also talks about this thing called digital well-being, which I'm not really familiar with.
It's a fairly new term,
Mm-hmm.
but it basically means having a healthy and balanced relationship with technology.
Okay. So it's not just about limiting screen time.
Right. It's more about being intentional with how we use technology, like asking ourselves, is this app actually helping me or am I just wasting time?
It's about making sure our digital lives are adding to our well-being and not taking away from it.
Exactly. And it's a journey, not a destination.
Mm.
We have to constantly check in with ourselves and make adjustments.
You know, all this talk about digital well-being is making me think maybe I need a digital detox.
It could be a good idea. Even a short break from technology can be really refreshing.
What do you think about digital detoxes? Are they good for everyone?
Well, I think anyone can benefit from a break. But there are some signs that it might be especially helpful.
Okay, like what?
If you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed and you think your tech use might be contributing to that, a digital detox could help you reset.
So it's like hitting the pause button and giving yourself a chance to breathe.
Exactly.
Oh.
And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can start with just one evening a week without screens and then gradually do more.
That makes it seem less scary. I like that. So the article also talks about body image and how social media can contribute to unrealistic beauty standards.
Definitely. Especially for young people.
Yeah, I think we've all scrolled through Instagram and felt a little insecure comparing ourselves to those perfect pictures.
It's hard not to.
Yeah.
And the problem is that we're constantly exposed to these images that promote a very narrow idea of beauty.
It's like we're being told that we need to look a certain way to be happy and accepted.
And that can be incredibly damaging, especially for people who are already struggling with body image.
And what's sneaky is that these messages are often presented as something positive, like body positivity or fitness inspiration.
Right, but underneath, it's still that same pressure to conform to a certain ideal.
So how do we navigate this? How do we protect ourselves, and especially young people, from these harmful messages?
Well, awareness is key. We need to be critical of what we're seeing and understand that social media often presents a distorted view of reality.
Right, it's not real life.
Exactly. And we need to talk about it. We need to have honest conversations with young people about the dangers of comparing themselves to others.
And encourage them to embrace their own unique beauty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's also important to diversify the content we consume. Instead of following accounts that promote unrealistic beauty standards,
Right.
let's seek out accounts that celebrate diversity and body acceptance.
It's about creating a more realistic and inclusive feed.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to unfollow, mute, or block accounts that make you feel bad about yourself.
You have the power to create a digital space that supports your well-being.
Exactly. Now let's talk about something else that social media can impact, our relationships.
Okay, this is interesting. I think we've all had those moments where we've felt a little jealous seeing something on our partner's social
Yeah,
media.
for sure. But beyond those little things, there are some bigger concerns about how social media affects our relationships.
Like what?
Well, for one, there's the distraction factor. We're so used to being constantly connected that it's hard to disconnect and be present with our loved ones.
Ugh, that's so true. I'm totally guilty of that. My partner and I will be having dinner and we're both on our phones.
It's like we're together, but not really together.
Yeah. And it's not just about dinner dates. It's those everyday moments of connection that are getting lost.
Like those quiet moments cuddling on the couch or those spontaneous conversations.
It's like we're trading those real moments for digital ones.
And we're losing something valuable in the process.
I agree. And then there's the comparison thing. Just like we compare ourselves to others online, we also compare our relationships.
Right.
It's like everyone else is having these perfect fairy tale romances, and ours is full of like real life stuff.
And those comparisons can lead to dissatisfaction and resentment.
It's like looking at someone's highlight reel and feeling bad because our relationship doesn't look like that.
And then there's the issue of privacy.
Okay.
Social media can blur the lines between our public and private lives, which can cause tension in relationships.
But like when your partner posts a picture of you without asking or tags you in something embarrassing.
Exactly. It can feel like a violation of trust. So how do we manage all of this? How do we keep our relationships healthy in the age of social media?
That's the big question.
Well, communication is crucial.
Mm.
Talk to your partner about your social media habits, how they're affecting your relationship.
Like setting boundaries around phone use or agreeing on what's okay to post about each other.
Exactly. And be mindful of your own social media use.
Mhm.
Are you constantly checking your phone when you should be spending time with your partner?
Oof, good point.
If social media is causing problems in your relationship, maybe take a step back. Maybe agree on some screen-free time together. Or even consider a digital detox as a couple.
It's about remembering that the relationship comes first.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the positive side of social media, because it can be a great tool for connection and community, especially for people who feel isolated.
That's true, like those online support groups or communities for people with shared interests.
Exactly. And it can be especially helpful for people who are shy or introverted.
Right, it's like finding your people online.
And it can also be a powerful tool for activism and social change.
Like those online movements that raise awareness about important issues.
Exactly. Social media can give a voice to the voiceless and amplify messages that might otherwise go unheard.
But of course, social media isn't all sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
There's also the issue of online harassment and cyberbullying.
And that's a serious problem. It can have devastating consequences for the people who are targeted.
We have to do better at creating a more positive and respectful online environment.
We do. And it starts with each of us. We have to be mindful of our own behavior and call out negativity when we see it.
It's about remembering that there's a real person behind every screen.
Exactly. So let's shift gears and talk about some practical tips for managing our social media use in a healthy way.
Yes, give us the good stuff.
Well, the first step, as we've talked about, is awareness. Pay attention to how social media makes you feel. If you're feeling anxious, envious, or drained after scrolling, it might be time to make some changes.
Like maybe unfollowing certain accounts or setting some time limits.
Right. And there's some great apps and tools that can help you track your usage and set boundaries.
Cool, I didn't know that.
And you can even schedule social media-free periods throughout the day, like during meals or before bed.
I like that. It's like building in those breaks.
Exactly. And it's also important to be mindful of the content we're consuming. Like we choose healthy foods to nourish our bodies. We need to choose healthy content to nourish our minds.
So curate our feeds to be more positive and inspiring.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to unfollow, mute, or block accounts that are bringing you down. You have the right to create a digital space that supports your well-being.
It's about taking control and making it work for you.
Precisely. And remember, it's not about deprivation. It's about finding that balance where technology enhances our lives without diminishing our humanity.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of social media.
Me too. It's not just about entertainment or staying connected. It's a powerful force that can shape our thoughts and emotions.
It's like a reflection of our society with all its complexities.
That's a good way to put it. And just like in real life, we have to navigate social media with awareness and discernment.
We can't just passively consume everything. We have to be critical thinkers and make conscious choices.
It's about being active participants in our digital lives, not just passive consumers.
And it all comes back to digital well-being. Being intentional with our technology use and making sure it's serving our well-being.
It's about finding that sweet spot where technology enhances our lives without compromising our mental health, our relationships, or our sense of self.
This has been such a journey. We've explored so much, and I think the biggest takeaway for me is that this isn't just about social media. It's about how we live our lives in a world that's saturated with technology.
Absolutely. We're constantly bombarded with information and stimulation.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed and disconnected,
It's like we're all suffering from digital overload.
which is why it's so important to cultivate those digital well-being practices,
Yeah.
setting boundaries, prioritizing real-world connections, and making sure technology is serving us, not controlling us.
It's about reclaiming our time and energy and investing it in things that truly matter, like spending time in nature, pursuing our passions, connecting with loved ones.
Those are the things that bring us joy and fulfillment.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to encourage everyone listening to be more mindful, intentional, and empowered in their digital lives.
I love that.
Let's use technology as a tool for good, for connection, for creativity, for growth, and let's prioritize our mental health, our relationships, and our well-being above all else.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Ah,
The digital world is here to stay, but we have the power to shape it into a force for good.
so to all our fellow deep divers out there, remember to swim with awareness, swim with intention, and swim with your well-being as your compass.
Beautifully said. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and stay well.
It's kind of like we were saying before, social media, it really is just a mirror, right? It shows us all the good and bad stuff that's already in our world.
Yeah, it reflects our culture. It magnifies the things we're already doing, both the good and bad things.
Yeah. And it's like, just like in real life, we got to be smart about how we use it. We can't just let it take over.
Exactly. We can't be passive. We have to make choices about what we see and how we react.
Which brings us back to that idea of digital well-being. It's way bigger than just limiting screen time.
It's true. It's about being in control of how we use technology, not letting it control us.
This whole conversation has been so thought-provoking. It's not just about social media, is it? It's about living in a world where tech is everywhere.
That's it. Social media is just one part of it. We've got emails, notifications, news. It's like a constant flood of information.
And it's easy to feel overwhelmed, like you're losing touch with yourself.
That's where digital well-being comes in, setting boundaries, making time for real-life connections, making sure tech is a tool, not a burden.
It's about taking back our time and energy, spending it on things that truly matter, like being in nature, being with people we love.
Those are the things that bring us true happiness and meaning.
So true. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to encourage everyone listening to be more aware, more intentional with their digital lives.
I love that.
Let's use technology to do good, to connect, to be creative, to grow, and let's always remember to put our mental health, our relationships, and our well-being first.
I couldn't agree more. Technology is here to stay, but we have the power to make it a positive force.
To all our deep divers out there, swim with awareness, swim with intention, and let your well-being be your guide.
Beautifully said. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and stay well.